Thanks for joining us. We are Alive at 5. We're ready to get your thoughts on the stories we have for you today. But first, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook if you want to get in on the conversation. We post here every weekday. So let's get started. I'm here with Caitlin Ross, Aisha Howard. I'm wearing my obnoxiously bright yellow dress because it's hot. The sun is blazing today.
Bring out the sunshine.
It is so hot. I was out shooting a story earlier and I was just like dripping with sweat. It is gross to be outside. But for some DeKalb County students, it's gross to be inside too because the air conditioning is broken in a number of DeKalb County schools.
Ooh.
Yeah, when we got this release, all of us thought, it is going to be hot for those students.
This is not just about uncomfortable. This is really about safety. We're under heat advisories this week, and we're just back to school now. And my first thought is, during the summer, isn't there maintenance done just to ensure that things are working properly when all the kids get back to school, especially when we know in August in Atlanta you are going to have these 90+ degrees days. This is not unusual.
No, it's not unusual. And a lot of people on my Facebook page were saying this shouldn't be a surprise. You should know that this type of heat is coming. But there wasn't sympathy all around. I want to show you some comments here. Bob said, look, I'm sure it's hot, but when I was in high school, it was just as hot and we had no AC, windows open, fans made. We survived. But to your point, Cheryl, Roy had that same exact question. He said, why aren't people doing maintenance checks to make sure that everything is okay before school starts? If they can afford to build multi-million-dollar stadiums, why aren't they able to do this? And so that's a good point when you talk about safety, because this is a safety issue.
I'm from Michigan, and you think about it, you know, if it was below zero, we're not going to school, and I think heat should be treated the same way. And so I think it's so dangerous, and parents are really going to have to watch out for those kids to see if they're having any heat-related symptoms when they get home and making sure they're staying hydrated. And that's just an added layer to really being comfortable and learning in a comfortable environment. It reminds me of the parents who always say, I used to walk 1 mile to school. I mean, give them some air.
At the very least, it's going to be real hard to concentrate because I find it hard to concentrate when you're just sweltering.
Yes, exactly.
Aisha, what got your attention today?
All right, so some students and parents found it hard to concentrate based on this story. So there's a teacher in California who handed out a worksheet, a little guide showing a little diagram, if you will. I think we have a picture of it to show you here. This shows gender identity. It's a graphic to explain preferred title. This is coming from a science teacher in California who goes by Mix, not Mr., but MX, as a way to say this is how I identify my gender. And so a lot of parents really were not feeling this idea, especially because it came from a science teacher. They do say in California they do teach gender identity in health courses, but not a science course. So I posted this earlier today and got some feedback from some parents. Let's check out this comment here that came in from Erica. She says, I prefer to introduce such topics to my own child, so I can be the greater influence as opposed to a stranger who doesn't hold the same beliefs we do. I will allow my children to speak openly, of course, and ask questions, but I can answer through a loving and Christian filter. I can better prepare for his questions if I'm the one initiating the discussion. So, ladies,
I have never heard of that before, but I think it's interesting that he handed out that worksheet and wonder if the school knew that he was handing it out beforehand or
they did not.
So that's an interesting question.
About 50 students got it before the principal put the kibosh on it.
It's interesting because this is a teacher, my understanding, not trying to teach about gender identity, but trying to explain why he chooses to go by this title.
Yeah, and some people who supported it said it showed the students empathy. If someone is identifying as this is how you respect them and this is how you refer to them in return. So a lot of people saw both sides of this one, but you could see how those parents were like, hold up, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Interesting that the principal stopped it too. So now what's the next step going forward?
It's gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the worksheet is out of there for now. So I'll keep following up. This was from USA Today. So we're going to be sure to follow up and see if they do something on that and see, you know, what really happens there in California.
I can't stop thinking about this college student who got into an Uber at East Point hoping to go to Cobb, and the driver just was taking her 20 minutes out of the way, and she ended up in a dark parking lot. She felt so threatened that she got out of the car and she ran. Because I'm thinking as a woman about, should I be more aware when I get into a car? She did all the things right. She checked the license. She knew the make and model of the car. You know how they tell you to go up and ask, like, who are you here to pick up? Because the driver should know your name. She did all those things right, yet she had this terrifying experience. So I did a little digging, and from 2014 to 2018, there were 103 incidents of a driver in a rideshare being accused of sexual assault And that is a scary number. Now, in context, there's millions of rides, but as women, what do we do?
Yeah, but still, I think that is a very scary number, and it's frightening to think that it's happening so often that even though she did every single thing right, she still had this experience.
Yeah.
And you are, when you think about Uber and Lyft and all those rideshare apps, I use them all the time, but you are getting in the car with a stranger. That's
Yeah,
scary.
you use them a lot.
I cannot tell you how many times I hopped in an Uber just over the weekend. I mean, it is the way to get around. And even if you do all those things right, I think that's the bigger, scarier part. She did, and this still happened. So you're really taking a gamble. But what I will say is I feel like we're starting to get more women drivers in Atlanta at night. I've left quite a few events here recently, and I always have this sigh of relief, and it's just such a peaceful feeling when it's a female driver who shows up.
It's so interesting you say that, because there are rideshare companies starting to emerge that are women only, or at the very least where you can call and you can say, I choose to have a woman driver. And this is one of it's called Go Safer, and it's specifically built a business around knowing that women are going to have obviously inherently more concerns as men getting into a rideshare. It's like rideshare by women for women, so you can choose, I want a woman driver. This company is not in Atlanta yet, but it's coming late 2020.
Oh, I would love that. I'd never heard of that, Cheryl. That was my first time hearing about that.
So interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that, because I think as more of these stories and concerns emerge, the rideshare companies are going to have to figure out how to address these concerns, and then other businesses like this Go Safer will emerge to answer those concerns. Because women, half the population shouldn't be boxed out of rideshare because they're fearful for their safety.
For their safety. Well, great chat today, ladies.
Yes.
Some really good topics, and thank you guys for jumping in and giving us those comments. We want to know what you still think about today's stories. Leave your comments down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our growing YouTube channel. We post each and every weekday, and follow us on our social media pages to get your comments on the show. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow, same time.
I would do that. I would select
that was
a
my
woman.
first
I would
time.
totally.